right over here, coming over to join us, is the head football coach of the Baylor Bears, Dave Aranda, who comes over to join us right now. And the funny thing about this is, as Coach Aranda pulls on the headset, I just mentioned a few minutes ago to Sark, I said, I'll see you on Sunday because of the annual Division I football coaches panel we do at coaching school. So it's good to see you again. How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Doing good. Good to be here.
To you, is this event and then coaching school, because I know the high school coaches mean quite a bit to you as they do to all coaches in the Big 12, are these kind of signal signpost events that you're finally getting closer to football season?
They are. I appreciate the question. Prior to the role I'm in now, it always used to be the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Is that once you get to the All-Star game, if prior to the baseball All-Star game, you kind of have a summer. Once you got to the All-Star game, it's like, okay, here we go. Let's get ready to strap it on.
Yeah.
Now, I'm actually not going to be, unfortunately, my father passed away. My dad.
I'm sorry to hear
yeah,
this.
my dad, yeah, he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And so we found out, in April, I guess. And so a couple months to live, and it just went by so fast.
Sure.
And, I went out to see him. And, my dad and I we were always way close, but it was never like a, hey, I love you, and any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I made sure to tell him that, and he told me that, and he still had some energy at this time. And I remember we got up and we hugged, and he gave me a huge, and I was hugging him, and it was, I don't know, you kind of feel like, okay. And I started pulling away, but he pulled me back, and he said he loved me. And so I'm glad that we had that moment, because I know there's just with friends and stuff, people don't have that.
Yep.
But, he passed right after the 4th of July. So I went home and was with my brother, he's a high school head basketball coach there in town in Redlands, California, where I'm from, and then my mom, and then so his celebration of life is this Sunday.
I see.
And so we're going back for that
Well,
after this.
Our thoughts and prayers and best wishes to you and your family. How much football did you learn from him?
Quite a bit, yeah. I mean, we would be we'd be watching games. I remember growing up, and we'd be going to games. I remember sitting in the stands. Watching Notre Dame, USC back home. We go to UCLA Bruin games all the time. It was hard. We were Ram fans. And I still am a Ram fan.
So am I, by the way.
It's hard to be a Ram fan. And so in those days, too, we lived in Union City. And so that was up Northern California and Montana and Taylor and Rice and just all.
You're in 49er country.
Just very hard. Because we'd be talking, and I mean, we had Dieter Brock and Cleveland Gary and stuff, and it was just hard, man. We had Henry Ellard, but yeah, I remember the Flipper Anderson game when he played the Saints, and so talking to my dad through all that, there's a lot of those memories.
We got a Flipper Anderson reference on the show. We're good to go. Coach, one thing in the times I've been around you, whether it's coaching school or here, I love the fact that, you're willing to talk ball and just talk like you'd be talking to a lecture room of coaches, and I appreciate that. And when you go through your summer, go through your off season, and you're thinking about, I don't know how you look at it in terms of what calls worked, what didn't work, maybe you want to borrow something else. I was talking to Sark about that earlier. What does that process look like for you as you just try to maybe pick some brains and figure out, hey, how can I take this concept that I like and apply it to what we do?
No, appreciate that. It's a good question. I think that is, from a play caller perspective, like an all-day, everyday thing. And so I have a chalkboard at the house, and so during vacation and everything, there would be maybe and I can distinctly remember when I was coaching at Wisconsin, this being the case, is that we'd have people over 4th of July or something, and the dude was just done eating the hot dogs on the TV, and we're all getting ready for our events, and I would always I'd be with everybody, but then I'd kind of pull away into the den, and on the chalkboard was kind of, here's our base calls, here's our sub, here's our nickel calls, here's our dime calls, here's the calls versus 4 wide or 10 personnel looks, here's the call on 3rd and 2, here's the call on 3rd and 16. And so you're working through that all the time. And if it's watching an old game, or if it's watching guys doing in the immediacy guys that just got done playing last year in the NFL, and hey, they're tweaking this, or they're taking this way, or they're taking this there, and you have to really know yourself to know that, hey, this is something I'm comfortable with. This is something I will call. This was something that I will own, because if you're just renting something, then that's going to get exposed.
Right.
You really have to own it.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah.
Dave, when the message, coaches have different ways of phrasing their message to the team going into the start of a new season.
Mm-hmm.
When you have the contrast that you've had of the last 2 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
is the message different? Is it altered? Are there different things that are set out there for your guys that you set coming off of last season as opposed to the season before?
No, I appreciate that. It's a good question. I think it's been clarifying, and it's been, tasked with a relook at what person over player means. What does do simple better mean? I think from our coaches' perspective, you compete with scheme, but you win with players. And so, hey, football and everything, we're talking a little bit about scheme there, but everything that has its place. It's your relationship with the player and how far you can push them and how much they trust you, and that's at the end result. And so they're going to play for their teammates. It'd be great if they played for you. And then I think as far as the person over player, it just becomes like, looking at the mind, the body, the soul, the heart, and just looking at all aspects of it and really working to get better in all of those things, and not really just seeing football players as cogs in a machine to produce wins and get revenue. It's just how can we work and touch and improve these other areas.
I appreciate you dropping by. I know you're being pulled 1,000 directions, but you always and again, our thoughts and prayers and best wishes to you and your family there in the celebration of the life of your father.
No, appreciate that. Well, thank you.
Hey, we'll see you around the corner.
Okay.
Coach, great
All
to
right.
see you as always.
Thank you.
That's
Appreciate it.
Dave Aranda, the head coach of the Baylor Bears.